What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have the New Orleans Saints playoff scenarios explained. I'm really excited to get into this one and cover the playoffs. It's that time of year again. But before we do that, before we start, I'd appreciate if you could do me two enormous favors. One, please subscribe to this channel, NOS. We are on our way to 9,000 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer by the day. I'd appreciate you if you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And yeah, it supports me a ton. Two, please head on over to my All NFL channel, aka The Other 31, where I will start uploading regularly the first week of the playoffs. Thank you so much. I feel like the first week of the playoffs is a pretty good place to start. There's a lot of content going around, and it's a pretty easy entryway to get into the world of reporting for 32 different teams because the sample size is a bit smaller. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and let's get into the video. Roll the intro. All right, boys, so like I said, it's that time of year again. The New Orleans Saints are moving into playoff territory as it is the beginning of Week 17. The Saints are still at play for the first seed in the NFL and literally cannot get any lower than the third seed. So we did put a really good effort into this season despite all the injuries, despite the fact that Drew Brees was out, despite the fact that Michael Thomas has been injured for like all the entirety of the season. All the injuries on defense and everything, we still are 11-4 and are either going to finish 11-5 or 12-4. I feel like it's a pretty good way to cap off the season. We have a lot to look forward to as far as the playoffs go, but it isn't as fun looking forward to something if you don't know what you're looking forward to. Because of that, we will be going over and figuring out the exact scenarios that will land the New Orleans Saints the first, second, or third seed heading into these 2020 NFL playoffs. I'm really excited about this one, so strap in. We got a lot to go over. Before we go into the exact scenarios, though, let's go over the benefits of each seed as they lie. So, the first seed, you get a first-round bye, and you get home field advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs. You will not be playing an away game unless you go to the Super Bowl and play in whatever city it's being held in that current year. So, really good to get the first seed, but let's just make it known you're not guaranteed a Super Bowl run if you get the first seed. We got the first seed in 2018 and got bested by the second seed. So it happens. You don't get the first or the Super Bowl run automatically because you made it out of the NFC with the first seed. So second seed, they get home field advantage against anyone who literally is not the first seed, which is actually huge. It's a huge plus. They also get to play the lowest seed in the NFC in the wild card round, that being the 7th seed. If things hold on to how they are now, we would have a date with Chicago if we ended up in this seeding. Now, you should notice, for the first time, the second seed does not have a first round bye. It's kind of stupid that how the Saints are projected to get the second seed the 1 year there isn't a first round bye attached to this seeding position, but it is what it is. You got to remember the Saints are a historically unlucky franchise in the playoffs. There have only been 3 teams to go 13-3 and not get the first seed. The Saints are 2 of those 3 teams. It happened to us twice. So that shows you a little bit of our luck right there. As far as the third seed goes, it's pretty much a baby version of the second seed. It's not anything crazy. You don't get a bye. You don't get anything like that, but you do get a couple of home games in the playoffs. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and look at some scenarios and look at how the Saints can secure each one of these seeding positions. So there are currently 6 scenarios in which the Green Bay Packers secure the first seed, and there's only 1 scenario in which the Saints go ahead and secure the first seed. So hope is a little grim, but there's still some there. All the Packers have to do is beat the Chicago Bears, but that might be easier said than done as they are rising higher on a 3-game win streak. For the Saints to get first seed, the one and only scenario that can happen is this one right here. The Saints will have to beat the Carolina Panthers, the Packers will have to lose to the Chicago Bears, and the Seattle Seahawks will have to beat the San Francisco 49ers. This would tie all 3 of these teams at 12-4, and because of this, head-to-head matchups are completely out of the question, so that fluky Week 3 win that the Packers got over the Saints will not matter. It'll be thrown out of the window. The NFL would now resort to conference record to divide these teams up, which the Saints have the best conference record that will serve as the tiebreaker and give the Saints the first seed and control over the NFC heading into the playoffs. Home in the Dome for the entirety of the playoffs. It would be a huge thing to help the Saints in a hopeful Super Bowl run, but there's only one way that happens, and it's that right there. The Saints winning, the Packers losing, and the Seahawks winning. So let's go ahead and root for them. Let's go, Mitchell Trubisky. Like I said, it gives me a little bit of hope. It's a really simple path to getting into the first seed. Only 3 things have to happen for this to become a reality, and as Saints fans, that's all we could really do in this situation is hope. But there's the second seed as well, and there are 5 scenarios in which the New Orleans Saints capture the second seed, while there's only 1 for Green Bay and 2 for Seattle, which means that the Saints are obviously favored to be in this second seed spot heading into the playoffs. All the Saints have to do to lock up the second seed is beat the Carolina Panthers. If we don't beat Carolina, Seattle will have to lose to give us the second seed, or else we will be bumped down to third. But as long as we beat Carolina, we are guaranteed the second seed or better, depending on what happens to the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the last one we have here is the third seed, because it's the only possibility other than the first and second that the Saints can get. And that is the only way the third seed can happen is if the New Orleans Saints lose to the Carolina Panthers, Seattle beats San Francisco, and the Packers exist because they have that tiebreaker over us. That'll bump us down to third seed, which would kind of suck, but it is what it is. Those are all of the possibility for the only 3 seeds that the New Orleans Saints can capture into these playoffs. So now let's go and discuss a little bit of a rooting guide for Week 17. Who should we root for in this scenario where, I mean, we have to have a lot of things happen to go our way for us to get a higher seed in these playoffs. So the first rooting piece of information I have for you here is root for the Bears to beat the Packers, or root for the Packers to beat the Bears, depending on what your luck is. If whoever you root for loses, root for the Packers. If whoever you root for wins, root for the Bears. Do everything you need to do for the Bears to win this game. Do all your pre-game rituals, wear your lucky socks, put the pizza rolls in the oven 1 degree less than usual, take a shower 4 minutes and 25 seconds before the game starts and miss the first offensive snaps. Do whatever you need to do for the Bears to be in a position to win this game. We need all the good karma. We need all the charisma. We need everything up in the air to secure them a W here, because if they win, that gives the Saints a legitimate shot at the first seed, and this has to happen for us to even consider securing it. The second team you need to root for here is Seattle to beat the 49ers. If these first 2 happen, the Saints are guaranteed the first seed, which is obviously something that we want to have. Well, as long as they beat the Panthers, that's something we obviously want to happen. The third team I have here is the Rams over the Cardinals, and this one is subjective based on who you would like to play. I would rather play the Chicago Bears over the Cardinals and the Rams. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's my take on it. This will put Chicago in the 7th seed if the Rams beat the Cardinals, and spare us from having to play Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins if we land the second seed in the NFC. So I'd gladly take this, because I've seen running quarterbacks do a little bit of damage to this team, Jalen Hurts, and I would like that to not happen again, especially with the absence of Quan Alexander, which is huge in that category. That's really about it. There's not anything else to worry about as far as the rooting guide goes and as far as seeding goes. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think will happen. Do you think the Saints will end up with the first seed, the second seed, the third seed? Let me know. Like I said, I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. And yeah, let me know who you want to face in the wild card round if we don't get that first seed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.
Zero gravity falling. Like I'm jumping on a trampoline.